Hi, Jordy. How are you?
Hi,
Can
Raul.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Hi, Raul. I'm all good here,
Um,
but not as well as you by the looks of your background.
we invite you to Kigali then, Rwanda, one of these days, and that's what we will be talking about. That we want to interest the local markets and the African market in general on on what you guys are doing, what you guys are building, and then we make it happen. So, my name is Raul Gamba, and I'm the founder and CEO of African Colors, and we are more than what I'm grateful to have you today. And this project is this activity, this discussion was supported by the Embassy of France in Rwanda and the French Institute. So we are grateful to them and to other partners as well. And without further ado, Jordy, who are you and what do you do?
Well, thank you so much, Raul. First of all, I wanted to thank you and thank your organization for inviting me to be with you today and for the amazing work that you are doing for the benefit of your country, your region, but also for the benefit of all of us. Because since I got in touch with you, I've learned a lot of things about the markets where you operate. So thank you for that as well. I'm Jordy Puy. I'm the CEO of Unison Rights. We are collective management organization of copyrights for music. We basically collect royalties, publishing royalties, author rights, and distribute them to our clients. And we are a new model of CMO in Europe, which it's based on the principles of efficiency and transparency through technology. And that's very brief intro. And also, Raul, as you requested, I've prepared a brief presentation just to give an overview on what's the business of the collective management of copyrights, very briefly, and then explain a little bit more about Unison and who we are and what we do things. So yeah, whenever you want, I can get started with the presentation.
Yeah, you can go ahead. So I think
Excellent.
you are able to share. Wonderful.
Fantastic, and then we can move, as we said, into the Q&A and answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to share my screen, my presentation, and well, that's the basic pitch. We collect more royalties and pay them faster to clients in a transparent way. Basically, we founded Unison precisely for with that mission, which is to collect and distribute more royalties and pay them quicker to our clients in a more transparent way. Um, in many countries in the world, not in the US, for example, in the US that's not the case, but in many countries in the world, the collection of musical copyrights has been a de facto oligopoly for many years or decades. Even for hundreds of years or 100 years in some cases. And due to this non-competition situation, innovation has never been at the top of the agenda on the sector. So that's where we saw the opportunity to apply new ways of processing the information as well as tracking the usage of music for our clients, then go and get paid for this usage by the users and distribute them to our clients. And you know, as we everyone is saying for the last many years that our business, our part of the business, the recorded music and the musical works, is a data business, and as a data business, technology can solve a lot of the issues or obstacles that we faced. Um, so you requested that to me as well, Raul, to explain what type of rights we manage, the differentiation between both those of those rights. So basically, a song, a creation of music has two types of rights. One is the publishing rights, which is the creation, the composition, the authors, the writers that create a work of music. For example, just to use a random example, like Yesterday from the Beatles was composed by Lennon and McCartney. But then when this song is recorded, it generates another set of rights that are what it's in the industry we know as neighboring rights, which are the rights on the phonographic expression of the musical works. And therefore, using the same example I was using, Yesterday by the Beatles, that was composed by Lennon and McCartney, it has more than 3,000 different recordings of this song. So the author rights and the publishing rights are always linked to Lennon and McCartney or their relative that inherited their catalog in the case of Lennon. But the phonographic rights are more on the record label side or whoever actually owns the recording, the particular recording. Us in Unison, as many other organizations that deal with copyrights management, we focus on one of those, and we focus on publishing rights, author rights. And that means that our clients, or the clients that we serve, are mostly writers, composers, and publishing companies that are within this publishing rights sector. And how the business works. So here I've used all these examples just to do a graphic explanation on how the collective management of copyrights works. So you have on one side the clients or members, depending on the organization, they are called clients or members, which are, as I said, the individual writers, composers, the independent publishers, the major publishers, and the CMOs, other collection organizations. For example, in Rwanda, your collective management organization collects in your country, but then also uses other CMOs and partnership with other CMOs in other countries to collect in those other territories. That's why they are both clients and in the middle sometimes. Then on the other side, we have the users of the music. So who are those users? Well, all the digital platforms, the streaming platforms, the TVs, the radios, the live concerts, and also the retailers or any business that uses music to the public, like hotels. You are, I take it, in a very nice hotel in Kigali, and this hotel, if it has music, it's a user of that music. So the collective management of copyrights organizations are in between. Basically, what we do is to represent the clients or the members to make sure that their music is properly licensed to the users. We collect the users' money that they have to pay to use this music, and then we pass it on to our clients, discounting an admin fee to do our work. So that's more or less the overall explanation on how, very, very brief, very general, but at least to give an idea in case some of the people that are listening to us is not aware or not proficient on this part of the business. So what happened is that the rights management industry, as I said in the beginning as an introduction, has been facing efficiency problems for many decades. In a lot of the instances, is because there was not an incentive to develop new technologies or improve the service, because it was a monopolistic situation where there was no competition. So these are not all, but some of the problems, the issues that our sector faces are slow registration of works. So how long it takes for you to register a song with a collection society. Two, inefficient identification of works ownership, so that all the collection societies know who is the owner, who is the composer that owns rights in a particular song in a moment in time. And that's very important, because if you don't know that, then you don't know who you have to pay for the money that you've collected for the usage of a music work in a particular moment in time. Then third point, we put the inefficient monitoring of music usage, which is, once you know who is the owner and you have the data of the song because it's been registered, you have to track the usage. You have to track the usage of this musical work in TV, in radio, in background, in the hotel where you are. So that has been traditionally as well a gray area in our sector. Late and wrong payment and black boxes, and that's linked to what I said before. So if you don't know who you have to pay the money to, and you don't know what music has been used, if you have blanket license and you get a lot of money from the users, but you don't know who to pay to, that generates what internationally is known as the black boxes. Black boxes are those piles of money that are being uh, are being kept because they don't know who they should distribute them to. And what happens is that after a certain amount of years, this money gets distributed by the right holders that already got the revenues in the first place. Mm, then there's a lack of transparency, and here I'm talking about general issues. I'm not pointing to any specific organization, and there are like a lot of CMOs that do a great work in the world, but in the industry and in our sector, that's something that has been happening and still happens in many instances, which is lack of transparency for right holders payments. Many times organizations pay, and basically the right holder does not know really why they are getting paid, or there's no like detailed reporting. And then there has been also issues with the lack of customer support giving to the industry size and the structure of those organizations. So basically what we when we saw the legal opportunity that was the legal opportunity in Europe was opened by the European Commission, that created a directive that basically liberalized the market of the collective management of copyrights. The European Commission said, well, this sector cannot be an oligopolistic sector anymore. We need to let other players in. We need to favor competition so that this competition ends up benefiting the ultimate clients of our service, which are the songwriters and the publishers. And in order to answer to the needs that we identified in the sector, we worked in London with leading tech companies. We invited CEOs from leading big independent publishing houses. We spoke with writers, with technology companies, and we asked all of them how the 21st century CMO should be, how we should look like, what technology we could use in order to try to solve those problems that the sector is facing. And with all the answers and our own experience of more than 20 years, each of us working in the music industry, we built our technology and also our way of working. And our technology way of working, our answers to the problems that we identified are summarized in this slide, which basically it's better technical capabilities to solve the industry issues, apply technology wherever it's possible to speed up the slow registration, to better track the usage of the music, to better track who is the owner of a musical work, who are the owners and the publishers and the CMOs involved, so that we can do a better job on the distribution side and try to minimize the black boxes impact. Also with bespoke and real-time customer support, developing our proprietary platform for rights management for our clients, also applying all those savings that we do in processing and human resources, etc., into offering a much more competitive admin fees, and also working with multi-territorial licensing of rights in the digital world wherever it's possible. So basically, going direct to the DSPs and closing deals for many territories at once, so that we pass on to the rights management sector what is already happening in other subsectors of the music industry. Because one thing that it's been said by many people, and that I agree, is that the digital world has penetrated in every instance of the music industry except the collective management of copyrights, or not in the same level or degree. So that's just our history. So here I summarize that we were, the directive that opened the market, what we did in 2018, 2019, and basically now we are in a position where we're managing copyrights in about 800,000 works for more than 160 clients from all over the world, and we do it using our platform of rights management and our partners to do the music usage tracking, leading companies in the world such as BMAT, or also developing the blockchain integration technology with our partner Verify Media, the US company that is leading the way, leading the path in the application of blockchain technology for music ownership registration, basically to create this decentralized database of ownership of musical works that everyone in the blockchain ecosystem can check at any time to make sure that everyone knows who owns a particular work of music at a particular moment of time. Um, we have gained a lot of momentum. We started our operations in January of this year with about 450,000 works that we administered rights in, and now we are in more than 800,000 already works of music that we administer all or part of the rights. And we've also already have some case studies of added value of the way that we work for our clients. So, and that's just an example of a US client that we have, that we realized that only 10% of their big catalog was being monitored and was properly ingested in the system by the previous collection study that they were working with in our territory. And we basically worked with our client and shoulder to shoulder to increase that, and we gathered more than 60,000 recordings that we then included in all the matching, all the metadata and everything. So we managed to increase from 10% to 80% of the identified catalog. And basically we've managed to achieve significant milestones for us in this 2020, despite of the global situation and the COVID. We've managed to press on. We have licenses with major DSPs that represent more than 90% of the global streaming market. We already have pan-European and reciprocal deals with other CMOs, precisely, for example, CMOs in African territories that we have agreements with, and we collaborate very closely and in a partnership way. Then we've also developed Pan-African rights management capabilities with agreements with our key African partners and with international partners to allow that. We have more than 40 unilateral deals with other CMOs in the world. And just recently, for example, just a couple of weeks ago, we were admitted in CSAC, which is the confederation, the International Confederation of Authors' Rights Societies, as one of the only 2 RMEs in the world that have been accepted in this organization. And that means that obviously we can have access to the industry standard tools to generate codes, ISWCs, IPIs, and everything that is needed really to do a good job in the international ground. And that's just like some feedback from some of our clients that basically endorse the way that we are operating, and that we are very pleased to see that we are having such a positive response by our clients, and by the international community. And that's, very, very brief, as you requested, an explanation of what's the sector that we are working in, and what is our added value proposition, which, we hope that this can be of beneficial for riders, not only in African countries but all over the world. And we are very, very keen to extend and expand our relationships in that we already have in several African countries to other parts of Africa. And we are based in Europe, and Europe, every country is different, different languages, many languages within one country, and we understand that obviously that's the case in Africa. So we talk about the region, but really what we understand is like every individual country with its own realities and culture and ways of doing things. So, but we are very, very keen to establish more relationships in those territories.
Thank you so much, Jordy. I really enjoyed your presentation. Really, I don't even know which question I will ask, because everything was in the presentation now. So it's crazy, but let me try. So the first thing will be, this thing goes hand in hand with the politics, right? So it requires a certain infrastructure environment to put it in place, right? What what was the success stories, your say on that in countries you have worked with to see it in place?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, political will, it's key to develop the copyright sector, because copyrights are law, and law, it's done by the parliaments and the politicians. So if you don't have a knowledgeable and willing to cooperate political sector, it's going to be very difficult to develop the copyrights, the IP, the intellectual property regulations, but not only the laws, because the laws, we have all the international setup of laws, but most importantly, the implementation of those laws in each territory. So in our experience, it's absolutely key. And in fact, we can exist, and we exist as Unison because of a political decision of the European Commission that decided politically that the right way to go for Europe was to open the market of the copyrights management to private for-profit companies like us that operate based on the need to give a good service to the client in order to stay alive, which is, that's our biggest objective. We have to serve well our clients if we want to keep them, and we want to survive. So that's our driver, always give the best possible service to our clients, who are the writers and the publishers.
Wonderful. So another second aspect we can't ignore is the education part, because people who and those creators, artists, and all, they need to understand that part, right? So and it's not something you go to school to learn, right? So how do we make sure they understand? What was your experience and your say on about the copyright world, and how do we make sure they?
Well, I completely agree with you, Raul. Education, it's essential everywhere in the world. Um, in every continent in the world, we see how artists and writers and composers many times do not have the necessary knowledge to understand what their rights are, and what it means to be an author and have publishing rights, author's rights, phonographic rights, all that. And and I think that experiences like yours, the job that you're doing on, doing your best to spread the word, to transmit knowledge and know-how about copyrights, it's the best example on how things can improve. You are doing it for your country and your region and your continent, and other organizations are trying to do the same in other parts of the world as well. And I think that's definitely the way forward. But here, if we can link this question with your previous question, I think that it is extremely positive and beneficial when the political institutions as well support those initiatives of education on this ground for the music industry. So it is important as well to engage with the culture and education departments in everyone's country's governments to try to encourage them to support the training and the education on this space. So I think that that's important as well.
So uh, let's go on a practical thing, right? So many artists, well, many of those in countries that have been had a say, a talk with, they always struggle to figure out how money gets to them. Royalties is always a tricky thing with CMOs and all, right? So what are the best scenarios you have seen and experienced to overcome those and have artists um, go for platforms like yours and CMOs?
Yes, it is. It is definitely sometimes very tricky to figure out how the money gets from A to B, and that's exactly what we're trying to address. Um, because when a streaming platform pays to an intermediary that then distributes into CMOs, that then they distribute into right holders, there are the more steps on the way that you have between the user and the right holder, the more chances you might be losing something or track of it. Sometimes it's not the money. Sometimes the money gets there. It's just then knowing why or where it comes from or for what reason. And intermediation is needed, and I think that the CMOs are key here because as you can imagine, if every individual writer or publisher, independent publisher, had to negotiate rates with Spotify or with Deezer or with a TV station, that would be chaos and it would be impossible because the bargaining power of an individual writer would be very little. While if we go collectively in through companies like us or through CMOs like the one that you have in your own countries, then you increase the bargaining power and negotiation power with the users. But I think that for your question, to better know what's going on, we need to apply technology. We need to apply the usage tracking technologies that are available right now. And I'm not talking about developing new technologies. We already have available good technologies to track the usage. Then make sure that we are charging the users for this usage, and then making sure that we are distributing the money based on this information that we have and not based on surveys or things like that. So that's I mean, I know that this is impossible to do for everything at once, and we have these challenges as well. It's very difficult, but that's the way we should be working, all of us, towards to get to a closer and closer to a scenario where the reporting it's better because the tracking of the usage has improved, and also the ownership of the works information has improved as well. So I think that that's what we can do now and what we should be doing in the future, because that's something, that's a problem that you don't solve overnight. And uh, you know all the organizations, I'm sure, that try to do their best, but sometimes it's just difficult, and especially for some organizations that are non-for-profit that have like 300,000 members, that it's very difficult for them to innovate or things like that. So sometimes that's challenging.
So thank you for and then let's talk about the technicability of the platform. How does it in few words and in a way which is comprehensive comprehensive to non-technical people, how do we bring the blockchain to help and support this thing to be done and well done?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the blockchain is, at least the way we apply blockchain technology into our business, it solves one part of those problems. So basically, we've created a platform that tries to solve many problems, and we use different technologies that we incorporate into our platform to solve each of those problems. And blockchain technology, the possibility that offers is to have a decentralized database. So let's imagine like an Excel sheet, or much better, a Google Sheets, right? Which is a file that you can share with a lot of people, that you always see when someone changes something. But imagine that you add another layer of security, which is that you need permissions to do those changes. And if anyone changes anything on this database, and when I say changes and I refer to the database, I mean the ownership of work. So I will put a very clear example. One work that has two composers, 50-50% for the creation, okay? And this is the data that I'm talking about. And that each of them has a publisher. So if you put this information in the blockchain, and then you say, okay, in order to change the publisher that represents one, you need the permission of the writer and the permission of the former publisher. According, there has been a new deal. And this gets recorded in a block, in a new block, without deleting the previous information. And that's the beauty of blockchain, that if many changes of ownership happen, you can always go back in time and see when those changes happened, who authorized them, and how they were registered. So if you have a conflict, so there are like 5 changes of ownership of a musical work, and suddenly someone after 10 years comes in and say, hey, hold on a second, I am the writer or I am the publisher that should be there. Well, you can go back on the chain and see when things change, who authorized them, and that should help us a lot on conflict resolution. So that's the basic concept: decentralized database of ownership. And if this database is shared by a very large number of organizations in the sector, then all of those organizations will have updated information, and none of them will be able to say that they didn't know who was the owner in a particular moment in time. So they could not say that they don't know who they should pay the money to. So that's where we're going, and that's why we partnered up with Verify Media, who are the blockchain technology providers that we are using, and we are launching a pilot on registration of ownership of works in the blockchain ecosystem that they have created. And we think that that's, obviously this is not an immediate solution. It will take a few years, but if all of us put effort into it and collaboratively join forces, we could accelerate a lot this process, and we could see a lot of the benefits of the blockchain technology. And other technologies that we use in our platform, as I said, we partner up with other technologies that basically listen and identify the music that it's been broadcasted in TV and radio. Also with companies that listen with some hardware machines on what music it's being performed in venues, for example. And that's another part of technology, that what it's helping us is to better identify. And for example, for the registration of works, we've created our own technology in order to reduce from what in many countries it takes months to register a work with a society. In many countries it takes, not in all countries and not all societies, but many societies it takes months to register a work. So we've developed technology so that our clients can register works in 24 hours, and be in the system, ready to be tracked and ready to be claimed and ready to be collected royalties for and distributed to our clients.
Thank you, Jordy. So another question. I think we are heading. We are almost getting to the time we had given ourselves. So heading there, what are the important, like the pinpoints, right, of advantages to work with your platform? You know, there are some people have choices, right? Artists have choices and all. So what will be the how do you pinpoint the advantages to work with you guys?
Yeah, I think that the advantages are linked to everything that I've said up until now. But to summarize, through our technology, our clients can register work faster. They will keep better track of the usage of their music. We make it available in our platform, all the information that we gathered on the usage detection, and also a lot of financial information. We also put forward multi-territorial licensing for digital that I think that it's very attractive for our clients, because we do it directly for many countries in the world with DSPs, and also we take good care of our clients, supporting them with the relationship for the international collections with other CMOs. And as I said, we are um, also working with other CMOs in different parts of the world to collaborate and to develop this type of projects. So I think that that also would be a great benefit for our clients, or for whoever becomes our client. This is our approach, and obviously, with all respect with our competitors, with all the other organizations, we are just trying. We are not against anyone. We're just trying to offer the best possible service to our clients so that we are as successful as possible by doing so. But by no means we are against anyone, or we respect everyone in the market that has a fair competition approach, which is our approach. We love competition in the sector, but it has to be fair and within the law. These are the only two requirements. And the vast majority of organizations in our sector comply with this. There are exceptions, unfortunately, like in everything else, but the majority of organizations have this approach, and we are very happy to work collaboratively with a lot of partners, as I said, in Europe, in Africa, in Latin America, in the US, in Asia, and we are very open to anything that translates into a positive input to right holders.
So just to note that, by working with you guys and you working with CMOs all around different countries, it's also a great advantage for artists, right? In terms of we always struggle to say I'm a Rwandan artist, and then whenever they play my songs in Ghana, for example, a Ghanaian artist, wherever they play songs in Rwanda, he doesn't get any cent, right? So I think by working with you and you working with CMOs with the blockchain technology, I think it will respond to that, right? Because that's one of the struggles we always face on the continent. And so, yeah, you have a say for that as an expert.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's something that the all collection societies, also part of CSAC that we just joined, try to do. What we offer is all our technology capabilities to all those organizations that would like to work with us in order to try to contribute to make it easier for these artists that you were saying in Rwanda, that it gets played in Ghana or in France or in Spain, right? And make sure that this money gets to these Rwandan artists. So yeah, I think that you know, our attitude is to of collaboration and reaching partnerships with other organizations, where by using technology, our mutual technology, you know, our technology or the others' technology, and joining forces, that we can make these processes easier and better.
So I really appreciate your time, and please, how do we do business with you? Do you do business with artists? That's one of the questions we have been getting. So how to do business with you, and then share the last word for the audience, and then we close this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, get in touch. The best way to do business with us, obviously, is get in touch. We have our website that you can check in the information, and we have our contact details. We welcome writers, we welcome publishers from all over the world to work with them. Sometimes and usually for all the territories that are not their own territory. So, you know, in a way that we work a lot, it's supporting writers and publishers on their international collection, not as much their national collection, because for their national collection, they usually, you know, have their own collection society that they are affiliated to, and that they are happy with the results nationally. But we are open for any type of discussion, but mostly for the international support to writers. And as a closing from my side, I can only say thank you again. I really appreciate Raul, you having me here. I hope that it was useful in some way. I really hope so, and that I didn't bore you or the listeners too much. And yeah, I again, congratulations on the work you're doing. I think it's fantastic, and you are, you know, one of those organizations that there should be more around the world. There are some organizations like yours that are doing similar jobs in other parts of the world. But I think that you are very much needed, and keep up with your good work.
So thank you so much, Jordy. Thank you for the good work you guys are doing, and the good words you just said. We appreciate, and we'll definitely be doing business together. So we'll keep in touch. We'll bring the word out on the continent, and then see you very soon. And let's do business.